What's up guys, welcome to Supercars of London, and we start this video literally as I finish the ending to the Ferrari 812 Superfast video because I'm down at R-Tec Auto Design. I've been itching to get down here for quite some time, and if you have watched Sam's video from Geneva when he filmed the Mod Ball Rally Cars Turn Up, he was badgering me on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube about one car in particular, and that is the R-Tec Auto Design Porsche GT3. When I was at Le Mans, I was fanboying so much over the 911 RSR, the mid-engine F1 sounding Porsche that was racing around, and Sam likened that car behind me to the RSR, so I had to come down. So I was texting Adrian pretty much all week saying, when is the car back, when is the car back, I want to drive it, I want to drive it. I've been handed the keys are in, the engine is on, the valves are shut, and we're warming the car up to go for a bit of a drive. So I think I'm going to hook the GoPros up, get in the driver's seat and go and drive that absolute weapon. Now, I'm really not that familiar with Porsches. I've driven a couple of Caymans, I've driven a 911 Carrera 2S or 4S, I can't really remember, but I've always wanted to drive a Porsche GT3. Ever since Mr. JWW had a GT3 and we went on a road trip together, I wanted to drive one because James was not a big Porsche fan and he drove a GT3 around a racetrack and went and bought one. That's quite typical of Mr. JWW of doing that. He did it on the 675 LT. But I've never driven a Porsche GT3, but apparently they're supposed to be amazing. So what do we have in our hands? We have got a Porsche 911 GT3 fitted with a full straight pipe IPE exhaust system, decatted all the way back, which means it is the loudest form you can have. Let's put it into manual. That annoyed me. Oh, this thing sings. Not only that, we have got a race wing. It's probably not the official term for it, but this car is also fitted with the brand new Revere Forged Series wheels in gold, which set it apart, and I just think the gold details against the black paint really kick this car off. I'm not a big fan of the velvet roof and bonnet, but Adrian was basically saying that it was a way in which he could stand out amongst the other Porsches that were on the Mod Ball Rally, and it certainly does that. It was memorable, it stuck in people's minds, but to me it was all about the gold wheels and this exhaust system. So I'm headed straight to the massive Hatfield Tunnel and really going to try and put my foot down and get a taste of what this car sounds like. Before we get into the tunnel, I just want to reference my first ever video that features my face on Supercars of London, where I said I wanted to find a supercar. This was announcing my first supercar. I wanted to find a car that sounded like a supercar, and then I kind of made a snide comment saying that, so not a Porsche. It's vital that my first supercar sounds how a supercar should sound. So put it this way, I'm not buying a Porsche. Here I find myself putting the window down. What? to the top end of the revs of that car and other similar cars, the F12s, the Aventadors, even the Hurricane. When you're trying to get to the top end of the revs in second and third gear, you're going well over the speed limit, whereas in this car, you're not. Oh, the PDK. Oh my God. Oh my God. If you haven't noticed, I've literally just turned around so that I can go back through the tunnel. Oh, I love those upshifts. Let's see how far it revs. What? Doesn't stop revving. It does not stop revving. Wow, what an introduction to the Porsche GT cars. I didn't even think the GT3 and GT2 RS sounded good at Goodwood Festival of Speed. I've never thought Porsches had that about them, but oh my God, does this car have it. This car is everything that I look for in a car. I'm first at the lights. Must not floor it. This car revs to 9,000. That's 100 RPM more than the A12. Oh! It's that high-end scream. I have never driven a car that has that high-end scream, and I'm going to give you an insight into the back of my brain, because ever since I owned the Audi R8 and the exhaust system started to change the tone and become quite a smooth high-end pitch rather than the V8 muscle rasp, I've craved that in cars. I've craved it. And I bought the Gallardo and I knew I would never get that. The Gallardo, the 5.2 V10 barks, is very loud. I made it very loud, but it didn't have a high-end scream pitch to it. And I still wanted that scream. And I looked at 458s and I couldn't do it. And I bought an AMG GTS, which definitely did not have the scream, but I tried to make it as loud and as good as possible, which I feel like I did. And then I tried looking at 458s again with Novitec exhaust pipes. I looked at everything that I possibly could get that could scream, and to me the epitome of that is the 6.5 litre V12 in a Murcielago LP640. I still don't think I can afford the running costs on that car, but hopefully one day I will, and I'll just go and buy it. But the Hurricane sounds good. We did everything that we could with BRE to make it sound good, and he is actually creating a revised development update for the exhaust system to try and reach higher tones. That is in the works. But driving this car, a GT3, a Porsche, with a decat exhaust system from IPE, is making my heart pound in a completely different way than any other car that I've driven before. And it is definitely something to do with the way this car looks, the way this car has been modded, but how it sounds. Oh. R-Tec Design and Revere London have made a monster. They have made a monster. I've had to pull over and gather my thoughts because I was getting a little bit too crazy, and I think that's the problem with such a screamy exhaust system. It's so addictive that you just want to continue and push and push and push. And I hit the rev limit, and I mean, I'm looking at that now, and I would probably say that 4 or 5 years ago, I would like that, but now I love that. That is everything that I want in a car. A stupid look, quite a personal look, very unique, but with an incredible soundtrack. And I never thought that I would say this, but now I want a Porsche GT3. And it may look like a downgrade compared to the Hurricane, and I'm not saying that I'm actually going to do it, but I love it. I love that car. I think what R-Tec and Revere have done as a collective, and what Adrian has done as the owner, has made not only the perfect modball car, it's comfortable, it's good at long distances, but as soon as you hit those mountain roads or the cities, that exhaust is going to echo off everything. That is also one of the best driving cars I've ever driven, by a mile. And I'm so inexperienced with Porsches, but I am starting to understand more and more why people love them so much, and why there is such a huge hype around the GT cars. The GT2 RS to me at Goodwood Festival of Speed was like, yeah, looks fantastic, but sounds rubbish. 700 brake horsepower to the rear wheels, pretty ridiculous. And I now can understand why there is such a hype around that car, the new GT3. And to be honest, that would literally, I would happily have that sat on my driveway. Oh, I really, really, really love that car. And I really, really love even more the sound. It's the closest thing that I think I've ever heard to a 911 RSR, but also coming from a Porsche surprises me so much. I'm just gonna go and hoon it again.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi. Các bạn hãy bấm like, comment và hãy bấm nút đăng ký để ủng hộ cho kênh mình nha.